Well, greetings everybody. Patty here. Here's an article from freelance journalist Jim Stone. And I recently found out that Mr. Jim Stone happens to be pretty darn good at what he does. And he's probably one of the more accurate journalists out there. So accurate that he actually disappeared for a year and a half. And he is back. And here he's talking about the American nuclear industry. Okay. Busted. Federal government busted for forcing American nuclear industry to become a ticking time bomb. Americans have been told their nuclear waste must go somewhere. Americans have been told their spent reactor fuel needs to be stored inside a mountain in a desert where it will sit as a threat and menace to the world for millions of years. Americans have been told there is nothing they can do about it. But what if they have been told a lie? Good possibility. What if that spent fuel was not spent at all? What if a technology existed which allowed the same fuel to be used over and over, 20 times in fact? Expended so fully that fuel rods would be safe enough to handle directly out of the reactor? Question mark. Think any spent fuel rods would be full? And even if this technology never existed, what if foreign nations, France for one, that's my kitty, see? There's my kitty. He wants to be part of the video. See? He wants to be a part of the video. Hi everybody. Okay. That's my loci. He sits on my lap. He's my assistant. Cute. Okay. What if foreign nations, France was one, offered to buy this fuel from America for billions of dollars, only to have... Hold on, let me get my cat organized here. He likes to be on my lap. Hold on. I'm going to pause. Oh, well, that was fun. He's on my lap now. So where was I? Sorry about that. Okay, let's start right here. What if foreign nations, France was one, offered to buy this fuel from America for billions of dollars, only to have the American government refuse the offer for no reason at all? Certainly allowing France to have it would solve the problem of getting rid of it. And the final question, why would the American government want so much nuclear material sitting around the country? Enough to make countless atomic bombs, only to have it become a threat to America's national security. Goes my cat again. So I'm gonna cry. I don't think he likes it when I'm doing videos. I don't know. But he shares the distraction. Anyways, okay, let's see. And the final question. Why would the American government want so much nuclear material sitting around the country, enough to make countless atomic bombs, only to have it become a threat to America's national security? Could it be that for many years America has not had a legitimate government, you think, and instead has had a band of invaders in power who have intentionally set America up for a fall? This report consists of hard scientific fact and even harder answers. During my journey of discovery and my investigation into the Fukushima disaster, I interviewed an 85-year-old nuclear engineer who worked in the nuclear industry during America's glory days, an engineer who earned GE over 100 patents. He was one of the engineers who designed Fukushima. So, naturally, when conducting an investigation into such a disaster, a journalist would want that type of reference. He was surprised when my prior study of reactor systems was so thorough that he had no information about Fukushima that I did not already dig up. And he was very surprised when I told him details about the inner workings of his own reactor design he never expected anyone in the media to know. More cover-ups. When I started to think I was going to walk away with nothing new, he began to talk about an entirely different subject. He began his new direction in the discussion with the phrase, "My team succeeded in closing the nuclear loop," and "Carter banned our miracle with an executive order." Here's what followed that introductory line, and an enormous reason why Americans need to seriously question the current government structure, possibly start over. I started in the American nuclear program all the way back at the time of the Manhattan Project, and have been involved in the reactor design and nuclear engineering my whole life. There was one answer we all searched for, and it was how to close the nuclear loop. When a reactor, such as a boiling water reactor, uses fuel, the waste products, which are highly radioactive isotopes that have different fission characteristics than the original fuel, build up in the fuel and change the nature of the nuclear reaction. A reactor such as a boiling water reactor can only use the fuel until it gets contaminated by these isotopes, enough to change the nature of the nuclear reactions taking place. The reaction environment inside a boiling water reactor is only one such environment which will work to trigger a chain reaction. And if that spent fuel is put into a reactor made from different materials, those materials can favor the burning of the isotopes which interfere with the chain reactions in the boiling water reactor, and use these interfering isotopes as fuel until they are consumed. After this process, which restores the fuel to its original state, is complete, the fuel can go back into the boiling water reactor and used as new with no reprocessing. The exact same rods can be exchanged between reactors. We perfected the second reactor design, which used liquid sodium as a coolant, and the reactor ran much hotter, 1100 Fahrenheit, as opposed to 550 in a boiling water reactor. The liquid sodium circulated inside the reactor instead of water, with the heat of the reaction being removed from the system by a heat exchanger, which produced steam outside the reactor for use in producing electricity. The temperature difference and coolant characteristics in the complementary reactor facilitated the burning of the isotopes, and you got to use both sides of the reaction. The boiling water reactor produced electricity while producing unwanted isotopes, and the sodium-cooled reactor produced electricity while burning the unwanted isotopes. This process could be repeated 20 times, and when it was finished, the fuel was dead and no longer hazardous, because all of its radiological potential was used up. It was a clean energy dream come true, and Carter banned it by an executive order. So basically what he's saying here is that this whole Fukushima crisis that we have right now could have been avoided if Jimmy Carter did not ban it by executive order. That nuclear radioactive waste could have been used about 20 times, reused 20 times, and then it would have been considered dead and not harmful. So, Jimmy Carter, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Anyway, he specifically stated that the burn down was so complete that the spent fuel was safe to handle directly with bare hands. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let's switch gears on this paragraph. He specifically stated that the burn down was so complete that the spent fuel was safe to handle directly with bare hands and needed no special care or maintenance at all. And after I questioned him about exactly how safe, said you could safely sleep on it. I questioned him several times, saying he must be exaggerating, but he said all radiological potential was used, and the fuel was completely inert at the end of the final cycle. Many people know about the liquid sodium breeder reactor developed by General Electric in the late 1970s, but a few people know the real story about this reactor, which this engineer developed. To backstab the public image of this reactor, it was stated that its rods would stick and that the liquid sodium was too dangerous to use as a coolant. But this engineer, the man who developed it, stated that this media campaign was a pure psyop, which, like many things, the media and government says had no truth to it at all. He then went on to lament about what a waste of money it was to have the technology banned because nuclear fuel is expensive, and they were only able to use it to about 5% of its total potential without implementing this technology, which would turn the radioactive material inert. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Okay. He lamented the fact that his life's greatest accomplishment got banned for no good reason. Ooh, Carter had a reason. Our government always has reasons, and they're never good ones. And it was a tremendous waste of money to not use the technology his team developed. Electricity would have been cheap, so cheap that homes would not have been heated with oil or natural gas. Electricity would have been the only sensible choice. Furthermore, with a reduction in the price of electricity by at least 10 times, except in California. Okay, not in California. We're sky high. Electric cars would have quickly become a standard. So, I'm going to post the link because I do not have time to go through all of it. Or I can do a part 2 because this is pretty good information here. Let's see. Okay, you know what? I'm going to post the link, and I do suggest that you guys click on it, please. And also, subscribe to Jim Stone's Freelance Journalist. You know, Google him in. He's good. He's good. All right. But yeah, lots more information in this article, but I don't have time to get to it. Okay. Foreign nations offered to help, but the American government said no. Okay, so, anyways, have a great day, everybody. And until next time, stay safe and have a great day.